Hey guys, Cosmos here from Kabam server for Europe, and this is going to be a guide not only for beginners, but also for intermediate and advanced players, but yeah, more skewed towards the beginners. This is going to be a bit about medallions and the types of medallions that you can buy and you should perhaps think about not buying. So that's a bit of a confusing sentence, but I'm sure you'll understand once I get into it. So you can buy medallions in the arena. That's the basics of it. In the arena, when you come to Elise here, you can enter the arena and you can enter the arena shop. And a few pages down the road, you can find the medallions, and you can find the ones that you're qualified for. So in the beginning, you can buy, let's say, the private medallion, which is giving plus 10% damage to players. You will notice I'm actually using the private medallion, and something that a lot of people maybe don't realize, the private medallion, you can see there also that the duration of it is 30 days. So that is actually super important in what I'm about to tell you. And now it costs 1,000 insignia. The next one is the Champion's Medallion, and again, people don't realize here the duration is 15 days for the Champion Medallion. It's now a private one was plus 10% damage. It also gives endurance 30. The champion one goes double the endurance to 60. 2% extra damage to players, and it's starting also to give a damage reduction, 4% damage reduction from players. So as you go higher to warrior, starting from the warrior medallion, the medallion's duration is 7 days. So the warrior's medallion is 15% increased damage, 6% reduction, and the endurance has been cranked up to 90. And so on it goes to elite warrior, to crusader, to knight crusader, and then a few pages down you get elite crusader, high commander, imperial commander. So there is a very big change between the high commander and the imperial commander. So up to the high commander, you're just getting more endurance, a little bit more charisma, more damage to players, and damage reduction. But what is happening from the jump from high commander to imperial commander, that's a huge change, and that in imperial commander is giving plus 600 to critical, plus 600 to block, in addition to all the other stuff that you were getting. And that is super important, because if you're in a critical build, additional 600 critical is huge. Also for knights, but also other classes using block, additional 600 block is huge. Now the movement from Imperial Commander to Lord Divine is less big. Of course, the percentages change drastically, so there is a huge change in percentages. It's less big difference in the stats. The block and charisma, the block and critical are going from 600 to 700 only, so it's 100 difference. So those don't change a lot. But what the Lord Divine is giving is plus 10 to initial rage against players, so that's big, and also the percentages are larger. So of course Lord Divine at present is the best medallion, but more are coming in the future. So in the future patches more will be added, as also higher levels of honor. Now on the honor rankings, Lord Divine is the highest, but like I said, there will be higher rankings in the future. Now that's the medallions where you can buy them. The price also goes up a lot, so you have to dish out a lot of insignia. Now for those players who are already with the level 70 set, they don't know what to do with their insignia. So right now most of their insignia is going actually for the medallions, and the rest is piling up for future use. But for lower level players to medium level players, and by low to medium I mean everybody up to anybody who has who doesn't have level 70 set. So actually it goes up all the way to very high battle rating players that I'm talking about. You don't always have to use the best medallion that is available to you, and by that I don't mean, like, for example, you see I'm a crusader on my mage account here on Kabam, and it doesn't mean I don't pay 1,800 and let's say I take one cheaper at 1,600. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about some drastic differences. I'm talking about I'm Crusader and I'm using Private's medallion. Now the reason for that, and let me explain you, maybe both also in words, but also in numbers. Now if you're doing 1,000 damage, so I'm gonna bring in my little calculator over here. If you're doing 1,000 damage, then if you have a private medallion, you're gonna do 10% more, so that's gonna be 1,100. Now if I go and I buy the Crusader medallion, so let's have a look again at the arena shop. Now that's gonna go to plus 20% damage, so that 1,000 damage becomes now 1,200 damage. Now that is of course an increase, and I'm not disputing that. What I'm trying to explain is that when you go to the battleground and you have built your character properly, and by properly I mean, for example, you see here I'm level 57 now, and I have 50,000 battle rating with the academy buff, the full academy buff of 200%. So now this is a pretty good battle rating to have for this level, but it can go much higher. It can go actually above 70,000. So but there are actually majority of players who are not really doing things properly, sorry to say. They're at like level range of around level 60 with battle rating of only like 30,000, 35,000. There's a lot of players like that. Those are also the players which insult others in the battlegrounds because they keep on getting killed, and they think that life is unfair or whatever. No, it's just because they built the player wrong. Now what I'm trying to tell you is that if you build your character well, you will do good in the battleground regardless of the medallion. I can actually take it off even, but I'm buying the cheapest medallion, the private medallion, to get the 10% boost, and that costs only 1,000 insignia. So if we go back to the arena shop, here I can show you again. The private medallion is 1,000 insignia, and it lasts for 30 days. That is a huge point, because you're paying 1,000 insignia for a whole month. If I were to buy the Crusader medallion, so let's bring this guy back again. The Crusader medallion is 1,800, but it lasts only for 7 days. So you have to do 1,800 multiplied by 4. So it's costing 7,200 insignia compared to the private medallion costing 1,000. Now the Champions medallion is going for 15 days, so I could crank up from private to champion, but it only gives 2% extra damage. So again, on a damage of 1,000, you know, if you take 2%, it's only 20. The difference is only 20, so it's not even worth it. Of course, at this rate, I probably better take 5,000 as my damage, because that's let's say that's around the damage I'm hitting the enemy with. Again, on 5,000, 2% is just gonna give me 100 more. And the way it works is, if I'm attacking a player in the battleground, it's usually not 100% of the time, but most of the time it's a clear cut. I know already from the first rain of fire if I'm gonna win or if I'm gonna lose. Very rare I have equal fights where, you know, it was very close, and sure, on those occasions it would have been, you could say, I wish I had bought the more expensive medallion, but it's again not worth it for only 1 or 2 of those fights. So what I suggest to you is build your character properly, meaning don't level up too fast. If you're already on an older server, there's an exception for new servers. Totally different rules apply, because on new servers it's a race on getting highest, fastest. There's totally different rules. But if you join the game on an existing server where there are people already much higher level than you, which is most of the cases like that, then what you need to do is you need to control the speed of your leveling, and therefore when it comes to medallions, you will also earn only limited amount of insignia. So you don't want to spend it on the medallions, the insignia. Instead, you want to spend it on creating legendary gear. So you need a whole, like for example for this brooch, to make this brooch into legendary, I'd need 10 epic necklace shards, and the 10 epic necklace shards, so let's have a look. There it is, 10 epic necklace shards, 400 insignia per shard, which is 10, so 4,000 insignia is needed for that. Now, if I keep on buying the most expensive medallions available to me, it's gonna make my job of creating legendary gear much more difficult. And actually, the fact of you getting legendary, for example, staff or legendary okay, jewels for this case don't apply because they use tokens, but for your equipment to get so brooch is usually giving health, the hat and the body are giving armor, and the weapon is giving attack. So making these things legendary and enchanting them gives you much bigger let's say benefit than the medallion is giving you. So what I'm trying to explain to you is consider actually using a much cheaper medallion, as long as you need insignia for making stuff legendary. So that applies to everybody from the beginner all the way up to high battle rating top level people who still don't have the level 70 legendary. So so that's that. And I also want to show you the difference in terms of damage. So on the calculator, so here we saw the private medallion is giving 10%. Now if I were to say be a high commander, 28%. So there, where did my calculator go? So there. So assuming I'm doing 5,000 damage, let's say lightning, so with 10% I'm gonna do 5,500. Now that's a serious increase. And of course, with something like a high commander medallion, 5,000 times adding 28% is getting 6,400. Now, if the enemy player is hitting you with 10,000, you're gonna die regardless if you do 5,500 or 6,400. And if the enemy player is hitting you for 1 or 2,000, you're gonna win regardless if you do 5,500 or 6,400. That is what I'm trying to explain to you. So don't automatically follow what I'm saying, but also but consider what I'm saying, because it could save you a lot of insignia, which can result in legendary gear for you. Now for the medallions, to finish off, you need to have a certain level of honor in order to buy the medallion. So it's not only the cost of insignia, but also your honor ranking that matters. So that you can see if you open your bag. So I'll do it again. If you go to your inventory and you go to profile, you can see here current honor, which is just like next to your portrait. It says honor 38,290 points, and if you put your mouse over it, it'll say current honor so much, and then 21,710 honor required for the next honor title. So I'm currently Crusader, and to go to Knight Crusader, that's how much I need. And then it'll tell you how much of the maximum per day. You're only allowed 3,000 per day. I have 0 here because we already had the reset. I'm actually recording it right after the reset, so it says for me 0 out of 3,000 for today. So that's how you need to increase your honor in order to buy the high medallions. Now you still need to increase the honor, and you still need the ability to buy the high medallions, because for example those people who are crit built, like I told you, the saving rule doesn't apply to them, because this additional critical that you get from Imperial Commander and Lord Divine, that is huge. They can't miss that. So they will probably have to buy it. But there are a lot of people who are critical build who are not yet Imperial Commander or Lord Divine, so the rule still applies. So instead of High Commander, you can buy something cheaper. You only sacrifice some damage. It's not the end of the world. So these damage percentages, realize that these are percentages. So that means the effect is bigger the bigger the numbers are. So the lower the level, the lower the damage, the lower the effect of the increase of the medallion quality. So the higher the level, the higher the damage, the higher the effect it has, which medallion you use. And of course, one big exception, class wars. During class wars, if you are hoping to get into the top 100, if you know for sure you're not gonna get into it, don't bother. But if you think you have a chance to get into top 100, buy the best medallion you got. So that's it, you guys. That's it for this guide on medallions and saving for insignia and upgrading to legendary and honor in general. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do click on like and subscribe below the video if you did. It always helps a lot. Also, if you share on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. Check out my blog. It's the most popular Wartune blog. So you can see the link in the description, or you can Google Cosmos Wartune blog. You can also go to kabam.com and check out what games they got. You can Google Kabam Wartune, that'll get you to Wartune, and kabam.com will get you to the list of the games they got. You can check those out as well. So thanks for watching and have a very nice day.